like a baby, hearing sounds of lullabies. SJTIT, infinite love. Through every heart across the town, you lift the lonely, calm the down. With every love song that you play, I take our worries far away. A baby, hearing sounds of lullabies. SJTIT, Infinite Radio. February brings the air of love, like blessings falling from above. Hearts and memories carried by your harmonies. On every street and every home, your love-filled music gently roams. Everywhere I go, I keep on thinking of you, 'cause you're so special to me, and I can't lying right beside you, brushing off all my blue. And it swings me like an angel, flying softly through the sky. You make me feel like a baby, hearing sounds of lullabies. SKTIT, Infinite Radio. Love is on the air tonight, hearts are shining warm and bright. Every message, every tune makes us fall in love too soon. Here in Surigao, far and near, Infinite Radio brings us everywhere I go. I keep on thinking of you, 'cause you're so special to me, and I can't help but stay, lying right beside you, brushing off all my blue. And it swings me like an angel, flying softly through the sky. You make me feel like a baby, hearing sounds of lullabies.
Sa House of the Representatives, mahitungod kini sa impeachment complaint batok na kang Presidente Bongbong Marcos. Atong dadon sa kahanginan, no, ang House of the Representative may kalabutan niining nagpadayon karon mga higala na anak kini sila sa pagdeterminar mga kaigsuonan kung aduna bay sustansya, no, aduna bagyoy igo nga ebidensya gibugaton kining mga basihan mga higala nga mga kahimuan sa presidente nga supak mga kaigsuonan sa atong konstitusyon, no, kanang dili pwedeng himuon sa atong presidente, atong paminahon mga higala, kining maong hearing.
The allegations stated in the complaint to me do not constitute betrayal of public trust. In an alleged violation of public trust, the alleged acts must be short of criminal. Tama po yung sinabi po ng aking kaibigan, Congressman Tinyo. However, the allegations as to receiving supposed kickbacks imputes a commission of a crime. That is a substantial defect, to my view, in the allegation presented. Because number one, the chosen charge is wholly and fatally inconsistent with the alleged act. There's a claim of direct personal involvement, but the same is merely conclusory and unsupported by sworn statements, documentary evidence, or the personal knowledge of the complainant. Meaning to say, Madam Chair, if there's a complaint in the impeachment proceedings such as this, while we are actually appreciating the sufficiency of substance, there has to be at the very least a link between the alleged crime committed and the person that is being accused directly ordering these crimes. This is borne, Madam Chair, out by the superfluity of general accusations, assumptions, and inferences, and the lack of identifying dates, specific transactions, responsible officers, or any overt act personally attributable directly to the President. Wala sa complaint mismo, Madam Chair, ang mga personal at direktang aksyon ng presidente na magiging basihan para sa nirereklamong charge. There is not even a direct allegation to explain how these alleged kickbacks reached the President. Madam Chair, hindi po dapat gamitin ang impeachment proceedings bilang fishing expedition at hindi maaaring gamitin para sa akin, as stated earlier by my colleagues, the mere essence of a principle of command responsibility lamang o ang policy decision bilang basihan ng impeachable offense without necessarily, again, linking the President to personally ordering his subordinates to craft a policy that would be considered a direct culpable of the Constitution constituting therefore an impeachable offense. In fact, Madam Chair, the Supreme Court has stated that the betrayal of public trust must refer to direct and personal acts by the accused. Number one, basic, Madam Chair, is to establish bad faith. The complaint relies heavily on singular, unverified, and unsworn testimonies, Madam Chair. The alleged testimonies do not meet on any material point that would establish direct, personal, and intentional participation of the President. In the Supreme Court decision, Madam Chair, cited by the complainants, which held that special provision from the GAA was unconstitutional for being a rider and for impliedly repealing the Universal Health Care Act, the court also denied to pass on the liability on the Department of Finance. In fact, Madam Chair, individual justices in their decisions stated that the Department of Finance followed the challenged provision in good faith. So there's no culpability even if you look at the ruling of the Supreme Court. That the finding of good faith defeats, Madam Chair, the accusation of betrayal of public trust because the same requires attendant grave and serious bad faith. There is no factual chain of culpability kung pagtatagpi-tagpiin po natin ang mga ebidensya na sworn, competent at admissible. Hindi may papakita na mayroong partisipasyon po ang presidente. Yun po ang basic na tanong ng ating taong bayan. To allow such fragmented and legally infirm allegations to substantiate an impeachment complaint would dangerously lower the constitutional threshold for impeachment. It would weaken the impeachment process, as explained to us extensively by the able chairperson yesterday. To allow barefaced and unsupported claims which do not directly implicate the respondent as basis for impeachment would erode due process, weaken institutional safeguards, and expose impeachment to abuse as a tool for political harassment and, I'm afraid, Madam Chair, destabilization. For all of these reasons cited above, I find that the allegations, Madam Chair, with due respect to my friends, do not constitute a betrayal of public trust. Marami pong salamat sa Madam Chair. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat.
Thank you, Honorable Adjong. Now we recognize the Honorable Lordan Suwan.
Medyo nawala man ang kuan.
Prohibited by
Baka
law.
na. Balik
In
ta.
fact, they are referenced in Section 35, Book 6 of the Administrative Code. And so, presidential approval of the release of these funds does not equate to discretionary indulgence. It is actually a requirement of law. And on another point, the complaint mentions extensively about the case of Pimentel versus House of Representatives. This is regarding the PhilHealth funds. Now, their reliance, the complaint's reliance on that case, I think, is misplaced. We must differentiate, because that case addressed the constitutionality of a specific funding mechanism in the General Appropriations Act. It did not find any instance of presidential bad faith, corrupt intent, or personal enrichment, nor did it characterize the release of unprogrammed appropriations as betrayal of public trust. Let's remember that judicial invalidation of a budgetary provision cannot be retroactively transformed into an impeachable offense. A ruling against a budgetary provision is not a ruling against the president. Now, the complaint also mentions extensively about the increases in unprogrammed appropriations amounts. And it seems that the complaint would make it appear that there is a grand criminal design, and it was the president who is behind all of this. But in my opinion, there is a much simpler explanation in the increase of unprogrammed appropriations. It might very well be a response to post-pandemic recovery. This is a simpler explanation of this increase. And also revenue contingencies or even disaster-related responses. And regarding alleged irregularities in the execution of projects, this cannot be directly attributed to the president, but can be attributed to guilty or erring implementing agencies and even contractors. So, for me, as to the alleged second act of betrayal of public trust, the complaint falls short, or it appears that there is an insufficiency in substance.
Thank you, Honorable Suwan. Next in line is the Honorable Amben Amante.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The complaint raises unprogrammed appropriation and alleged kickbacks, yet it fails to establish any direct link to the President. Walang claim that he received money or property. Walang claim that he personally benefited. Walang illegal transaction showing personal participation. Walang allegation that he ordered, joined, or colluded in any kickback scheme. References to unprogrammed appropriation do not lead ultimate facts.
mga gaigsuonan no para sa naulahing magsunod ipadayon tani no mao kini mga gaigsuonan ang Justice Committee hearing sa pagpangulo ni Congresswoman Luistro nga nagtuki mga gaigsuonan sa impeachment complaint no duha ka mga impeachment nga reklamo batok na kang Presidente Bongbong Marcos ang ilang gisgutan karon no kadtong ikaduha mga gaigsuonan nga ground nga na-involve mga gaigsuonan ang presidente gayud sa korupsyon no napailawom kini sa betrayal of public trust kadtong gitugutan nga mapagawas mga gaigsuonan ang mga pundo kadtong gitugutan nga mabalis ang mga pundo murag na mention gani ang sa PhilHealth no nga nganong gitugutan man o diha mauni ang ilang gitugad karon taod-taod ani mga gaigsuonan magbutoray butuhay sila magbutuhay aron i-determinar aduna bagyoy sustansya o igong basihanan no nga mo duyog mga gaigsuonan ang reklamo ngadto sa plenaryo kay i-determinar man kini sa department Committee on Justice pagpaniid sa Committee on Justice adunay lig-ong basihan adunay lig-on nga ebidensya pag naay mag-move mga kaigsuonan nga adunay lig-on nga basihan pag walay mag-upos magduyog ka na mga higala duyog na dito sa plenaryo pero kung adunay mag-upos mo resulta ka na sa division of kanang the house magbutuhay sila dito ato anay palutso no atangin ninyo ipadayon nato ni pagpabati palutson tao sa ning mga pahinumdom gikan sa Pikas Lawak alas 12:18 mga gaigsuonan ang takna sa kaudtohon.
Through every heart across the town, you lift the lonely, calm the down. With every love song that you play, I take our worries far away. A baby, hearing sounds of lullabies. SJTIT, Infinite Radio. February brings the air of love, like blessings falling from above. Hearts and memories carried by your harmonies. On every street and every home, your love-filled music gently roams. Everywhere I go, I keep on thinking of you, 'cause you're so special to me, and I can't lying right beside you, brushing off all my blue. And it swings me like an angel, flying softly through me feel like a baby, hearing sounds of lullabies. SJTIT, Infinite love. Through every heart across the town, you lift the lonely, calm the down. With every love song that you play, I take our worries far away. Everywhere I go, I keep on thinking of you, 'cause you're so special to me, and I can't help but stay, lying right beside you, brushing off all my blue. And it swings me like an angel, flying softly through the sky. You make me feel like a baby, hearing sounds of lullabies. SJTIT, Infinite Radio. February brings the air of love, like blessings falling from above. Roses, hearts, and memories carried by your harmonies. On every street and every home, your love-filled music gently roams. Everywhere I go.
Microphone. Binisay aninyo in-English man po ng inyong duha ni kuan diha Jo ni Marian in-Englishan man po ko ninyo. Isud ning kuan kaatbang tag mga in-English ba? Kani ha atong ipadayon pagbalik taod-taod ni magbutuhay na ni ron. No, pag makaapas ta masuod pa ni sa atong oras mga kaigsuonan, taod-taod magbutuhay na kini karon sa pagdeterminar mga higala sa Justice Committee sa House of the Representatives akong aduna bagyoy unod no ang aduna bagyoy sustansya igong basihan aron mga kaigsuonan i-deklarar no ang pagpadayon sa maong proseso sa impeachment nga reklamo batok sa presidente no. Pag magpabor magbutuhay man gyud na kay naa man gyud ay mosupak. Pag mudaog mga kaigsuonan daghan og boto nga muingon nga naay igong ebidensya muligid na mga kaigsuonan duso na dito sa plenaryo. Atong ipadayon na kay kini sila karon gipasulti mga higala ang kining mga complainants kining mga nag-endorse nga mga congressman aning impeachment complaint gipasulti anay sila karon ang gihatagan og panahon karon kasagaran kadtong mga nagpadayag nga wa man ni basihan o mo ni ang gihatagan karon og panahon nga makaistorya pag mabatian na sila tanan ni anak kini mga kaigsuonan sa impeachment complaint nga gipasakan nila o giendorso nining grupo nila Congresswoman Ko, Congressman Tinio o uban pa mao ni ang ilang reklamo nga gipasaka mao na kini karon ang gituki mga kaigsuonan be padayon nato yan pagpaminaw yan be
words do not amount to ultimate facts. The complaint relies on ongoing investigation and Senate inquiries to supply evidentiary support for several allegations, demonstrating that it's not evidentiary complete at the time of filing. Impeachment is not a discovery mechanism, A complaint must be sufficient in substance at the time of filing, not after hearings, subpoenas, or political inquiry. In sum, the second impeachment complaint is long on rhetoric but short on ultimate facts. It relies on hearsays, conflates policy disagreement with impeachable offenses, and imputes the alleged acts of others to the President without pleading direct participation, and are contradicted by the official records such as the General Appropriations Act. To allow such complaint to proceed would erode the constitutional safeguards governing impeachment and reduce it to a tool of political contestation. For failing to meet the rigorous standards of sufficiency in substance, the complaint should be dismissed. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Honorable T, would you like to reiterate your argument in showing the purposes in the slide?
Well, the purposes of showing the slides on unprogrammed appropriation shows that there are conditions to be met before the unprogrammed operation can be availed. So there are conditions to be met as provided for under paragraph 1A, paragraph 1B, and paragraph 1C.
All right.
Likewise, Madam Chair, if I may proceed.
Yes, please continue.
Also, as to the increase on unprogrammed appropriation, the complaint itself in page 9, paragraph 28, and if I may quote, on December 11, 2023, this is in reference to the GAA General Appropriation Act 2024, the Bicameral Conference Committee, referring to Congress, submitted a report that drastically altered the President's original proposal, meaning the increase in the unprogrammed appropriation from the proposed 281.9 billion to a staggering 731.4 billion, an increase of 449.5 billion was through the act of Congress. Likewise, in the very same complaint, to fund this explosion, as I quote, the committee, referring to the Bicameral Conference Committee, inserted special provision 1D, authorizing the use of fund balances of government-owned and controlled corporation. Meaning, Madam Chairperson, it's not the President who increased the allocation of the unprogrammed appropriations. It is the act of Congress by the Bicameral Conference Committee that increases the budget allocation in the unprogrammed appropriations. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable T. Your quite lengthy manifestation is duly noted. Now we recognize the Honorable Garbin. There's a list, Honorable Chua. You will be after the Honorable Abante.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me proceed with my manifestation on ground number 2. The expansion and use of the unprogrammed appropriations as a shadow budget. The core allegation of the complainant is that the UA, or the unprogrammed appropriation, grew dramatically. Releases supposedly required presidential approval, and therefore the President personally enabled the corruption. Why is it not sufficient in substance? First, Madam Chair, as correctly put up by Congressman T, the UA is a statutory budget mechanism enacted by Congress. The UA exists because Congress places it in the General Appropriation Act. The growth in the UA by itself is not unconstitutional. The complainant or the complaint does not plead which constitutional limit was violated merely because UA amounts increase. Number 2, no pleaded facts identify any UA specific release that was illegal. The complaint cites aggregate figures and percentages, but does not identify. First, the specific UA item release, the condition precedent for the release, how those conditions were absent, and the issuance of the SARO or the NCA that prove its illegality. Madam Chair, even assuming the Supreme Court in the case of Pimentel versus House of Representatives found parts of the 2024 budget mechanism unconstitutional, that ruling does not establish an impeachable offense by the President. And the Supreme Court, dispositive portion, ruled that the presidential certification of its urgency as not unconstitutional. And even if it were for the sake of argument, Madam Chair, such act in itself does not amount to an impeachable offense. It is just merely a democratic mechanism of checks and balance. The case addresses the special provisions, specifically paragraph 1D and its DOF implementation. It does not supply the project level facts, procurement irregularities, the kickback transactions, or any willful bad faith. The complaint still asks the committee to jump from program appropriations figures to corruption conclusions without the required linkage. On that basis, it remains, Madam Chair, that this allegation is insufficient in substance. Unconstitutionality of a provision is not by itself betrayal of public trust. Betrayal requires pleaded ultimate facts showing grave misconduct attributable to the President. The complaint uses unprogrammed appropriations expansions as an insinuation, but it does not show willful bad faith, corrupt purpose, or direct presidential participation, nor does the SC ruling fill those gaps. Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Garbin. Next in line is the Honorable De Lima.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I present again my own analysis of the second ground, I wish to state these observations. Well, one or two of the previous speakers again dwelled on the entirety of the complaint, and that includes the Honorable Representative Zia Alonto. And I cannot also help observing that about a couple of the previous speakers are actually dealing with the defenses, the possible defenses on the part of the respondent. Yung pagkakasabi po, with due respect to the Honorable Congresswoman Degamo, that the President must have been motivated by the desire to address the public good. That is a defense. Another one is on the part of what was stated by the Honorable Representative Suwan, that the increase can very well be, maybe explained by the fact that this was during the pandemic period. Again, that is a matter of defense. Kaya nga po, paulit-ulit ko pong sinasabi sa lahat na analysis ko po, nang tinitingnan lang po natin dito is the sufficiency in substance. And then, just to also address the point of the Honorable Congressman Ting, he pointed to paragraph 28. On December 11, 2023, the Bicameral Conference Committee submitted a report that drastically altered the President's original proposal. So his contention is that it's not the act of the President, but the act of Congress through the Bicameral Committee. Pero hindi ho ba meron allegation sa complaint? And I think this is pages 40 to 41. I'm sorry, paragraph 40 to 41 and paragraph 50 to 51. Ang natatandaan ko po, nakasabi dyan, during the Bicameral Conference Committee deliberations in 2024, PBBM instructed DBM Secretary Amena Pangandaman to insert 100 billion worth of projects during the Bicam. Another allegation, related allegation, PBBM produced a list of projects worth 100 billion for insertion. This list was given to executive and legislative officials involved in the Bicam. So nobody can really say that the President's hand is clean with respect to those insertions, additional amounts included in the GAA as deliberated upon by the BICAM. So again, aligasyon. Hindi ko po sinasabi, totoo yan. And then nakikita ko rin po sa discussion under ground 2, page 25 and page 26, or even part of 27, the complaint actually made a causal link to corruption. Meron po sila mga diniscuss dito. Several circumstances, which include the allegation that the top UA-funded contractors are now under criminal investigation. Kasi sila po yung mga supposedly diniveal ng Pangulo, pero sila yung mga top UA-funded contractors. And these 4 contractors, yung Sunwest, Silver Wolves Construction Corporation, High Tone Construction, Newington Builders, received a combined 18.44 billion in UA-funded contracts. Funds released only
Madam Chairman.
because respondent
Madam Chairman.
personally approved the special budget authorizing
What
this
is the
disbursement.
pleasure of the Honorable SDML
With due
defensor?
respect to the Honorable De Lima, may I raise a point of order?
You're recognized, SDML.
I respect the position of the Honorable De Lima, but we must also remember that every impeachment complaint, every impeachment hearing, regardless of who the respondent is, it is a political process. It is political in nature. And let's allow the members to speak what they have to say. We will not interrupt any member. We will not interrupt the Honorable De Lima. Let them manifest what they want to say, even the endorsers themselves. Let them speak. Surely we will finish this. But since this is a political process, let's allow them to say what they have to say and vote on it later on. That's all, Madam Chair.
We extended liberality to all the members in the same way that we are extending liberality to the Honorable De Lima. I think that's fair enough.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't think I'm in any way violating that rule because I'm not interrupting
You're not,
anybody
ma'am.
here.
You're not violating any rule. I'm
Yes.
just saying that let the members speak and let them say what they have to
Thank
say.
you. Thank you for that.
The manifestation of SDML defensor is duly noted as well.
So ang sinasabi ko na naman po dito, naniniwala ako na meron talagang mga allegation, factual allegations that would constitute the ground for impeachable or would constitute impeachable offense. Nasabi ko nga po kanina, per the rules, dun lang tayo dapat nakatuon. Yung mga defenses, let the respondent himself raise those defenses in the proper time. That is sa answer o kaya sa rejoinder, kung gusto pa rin mag-rejoinder, kung merong reply ang complainant. So, yung iba po kasi mga naririnig ko sa mga sinasabi for the previous speakers, defenses na po sila. Why can't we not focus our attention to the specific allegations later at the end of the pag natapos na po natin yung third ground? I can point out to those specific allegations. Ayoko lang po kasi mag-touch of the entirety of the complaint. But at this point, I want to say na yung factual allegations para sa akin dun sa tatlong complaints ay sapat. So tungkol naman po dito sa second ground, may I now again present my analysis. Ang sabi po, PBBM abused release of 213.8 billion of unprogrammed appropriations. Factual allegations. Although sinimulan muna po ng parang isang treatise on the legal nature of UA or unprogrammed appropriations. So may discussion muna tungkol sa kung ano ang mga at saka kung ano ang mga limitasyon ng UA. Of course, these are not allegations of specific facts, pero hindi ibig sabihin wala ng factual allegations under this ground. It may look like to be a legal memorandum yung pagkakadiscuss sa second ground, pero sa tingin ko po there are sufficient factual allegations that appear to establish a nexus with a ground for impeachment. Corruption, which is betrayal of public trust. Remember, isang general ground lang po ang rini-raise dito sa impeachment complaint. The second, the Maza et al. Complaint, and that is betrayal of public trust, manifested in 3 specific grounds. 3 grounds. Pero, betrayal of public trust kasi is all-encompassing. Pwede nating sabihin na lahat ng iba na mga grounds, whether it's culpable violation of the Constitution, treason, bribery, graft, and corruption, ay kung tutuusin po, kung titingnan natin, these are all constitutive of betrayal of public trust. Kaya nga po, naiintindihan ko kung bakit yung complaint ay only alleges one general ground. So again, ano pa po yung mga factual allegations? SC declared unconstitutional the transfer of 89.9 billion PhilHealth funds as grave abuse of discretion. That is a sufficient allegation. Another, Secretary Recto admitted identification of PhilHealth fund use for UA. Sufficient allegation. Another allegation, diversion of PhilHealth funds to UA used for flood control projects was the mechanism for kickbacks. Constitutes a raid of the nation's health fund by PBBM. Ito po, this is a conclusion. Another allegation, top UA-funded contractors are now under criminal investigation. Sufficient allegation. Nakasama sa discussion doon sa causal link to corruption, which was laid down on the text of the impeachment complaint. Another, PBBM authorized release of 213.8 billion of UA for infra. 111 billion was for FCP selected in accordance with leadership priority under parametric formula. Sufficient allegation po ito. The selection criteria used, though, included the parametric formula, which is a conclusion actually instead of a factual allegation. Katulad din po yung sinabi ko with respect to ground number 1. There may be statements of conclusions or conclusions of facts, but it does not change the fact, the evident fact that there are factual allegations na merong nag-establish ng nexus. Another, amount of UA quadrupled from amount of unprogrammed appropriations quadrupled from 250 billion in 2022 to 807 billion in 2023. Sufficient allegation. Another one, PBBM signed off on 9 SARO worth 213.8 billion. Sufficient allegation. Next, PBBM used unprogrammed appropriation to circumvent congressional oversight. This is of course a conclusion. Parang legal treatise na naman po yung discussion dito on UA as insertions. Next, PBBM approves special budget for UA projects. Sufficient allegation. PBBM authorized 100 billion in FCPs for political patronage. This is a conclusion. So overall, a liberal treatment of this ground would favor a finding of sufficiency in substance, despite the plethora of conclusive allegations as opposed to factual allegations. Having these conclusions do not destroy the fact that there are indeed factual allegations, which when hypothetically admitted can establish a nexus to any ground, especially betrayal of public trust. Again, hindi pa po mga defenses of the possible defenses of respondent ang pinag-uusapan natin dito, kundi purely on the sufficiency of the allegations. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
We allow the manifestations of all the members of the committee, including all possible arguments. That is to guide all of us or the members as we vote this afternoon on the sufficiency in substance of both the De Jesus complaint and the Masa et al. Complaint. Notwithstanding the significance of the observation of the other member on the manifestation in our proceedings, we are actually encouraging them to give a better understanding of what we need to determine as we end the deliberation this afternoon.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Is this in connection with the manifestation of the Honorable Dilemma? Because
Yeah.
we have a list, Honorable Adjo,
Yeah, just a very short manifestation.
in relation to
Yeah,
her
yes,
manifestation.
just a comment.
The
Madam-
Honorable Adjong is recognized.
Just a brief manifestation, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I do completely understand and the observation and perhaps what the Honorable Congresswoman Laila de Lima would like to recommend for this committee to approach this current deliberation and current discussion that we're having right now. In particular, the assessment on how we value the sufficiency of substance of the allegations presented before us today. I do respect her views. In fact, Madam Chair, I do not even want to argue, perhaps, on the merits of what Congresswoman Laila de Lima laid out before this committee. She is known to be a legal luminary. We do value all her points. In fact, Madam Chair, the committee has been very liberal in trying to allow the former Secretary of Justice, former Senator, and our colleague to emphasize clearly what should have been the legal framework on how we approach the issue at hand, which is to assess, again, the sufficiency of substance of this matter. But then again, I would like to just point out, Madam Chair, that most of us here came out with our own manifestation and our position and observation, not necessarily to defend the respondent, Madam Chair. Because I believe that in this case, in particular, the President has all the legal, resources. Should this proceed to another level, is more capable of defending himself. The individual observation and manifestation, Madam Chair, of many of our colleagues here are not defending per se the President, but this is also guided by the rulings of the Supreme Court, guided by the premise by which the Constitution laid out on how we approach impeachment proceedings. Number one, in my humble opinion, Madam Chair, first basic requirement that I would like to look into the allegation is if such an allegation established that there is bad faith in even trying to say that there is indeed an offense committed which constitute impeachable offense. The betrayal of public trust, Madam Chair, meron pong nakalay down doon kung ano yung mga ano, but ang para sa akin po, requirement is if there's really a bad faith. In this particular second allegation, kung may bad faith po dyan, ang nakita ko, Madam Chair, is that number one, the case of the Supreme Court over the unprogrammed appropriation is still pending. So we do not actually have a concrete response from the Supreme Court. That's number one. Number two is the initial ruling of the Supreme Court actually removes culpability on the DOH because the bad faith that was the bad faith, which probably would be the one to cite culpability on the part of the DOF, is absent according to the Supreme Court. There's no culpable violations or criminal violations for that matter on the ruling of the Supreme Court. So again, my humble opinion, Madam Chair, and again, I thank you for allowing me to say this, is the members who came out with their individual observations. Ang sabi nga po ng ating Senior Deputy Majority Leader, this is a political process. Allow our members to share their own opinions. We may not like what we hear from our members. We think that some of the observation assessment of our individual members might not even reach the standard of how we discuss legal matters in impeachment proceeding, but at the very least, allow them to to express their own views without labeling it as something defensive to favor the respondent, in this particular case, the President. We are guided by the rulings of the courts. We are guided also by the premise by which the Constitution has laid down on how we proceed with impeachment proceedings, Madam Chair. Maraming salamat po and thank you very much po sa opportunity.
Let us all be reminded that we are the representatives of the sovereign people here, and that is why the chair has been very liberal about accommodating all the manifestations and arguments which are being raised and presented by the members of the committee. Nevertheless, moving forward, we recognize the Honorable Rodriguez.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The second act of betrayal is found on page 23. The charge: President Marcos betrayed public trust by, very important word, abusing, because betrayal, public trust, abuse. To solely, next issue, solely authorize the release of unprogrammed appropriations channeling 213 billion in standby funds, and so forth and so on. So, abuse, and then solely. Now, let's go now to the next page. The legal framework that they provided already provides the ammunition why the President cannot be responsible. The legal framework states that precisely, Section 35 of the Administrative Code of 1987 and the Special Provision number 1 of the 2024. They say establish an ambiguous
Well, mga gaigsuonan, kabahinan rato, ha? Wala pa man sila magbutuhay, ipaminawan pa man sila mga gaigsuonan sa ilang mga observation. Karong taod-taod na, kay magbutuhay man jud ni sila karon mga gaigsuonan, sa ikaduhang impeachment complaint batok ang Presidente Bongbong Marcos, ang ilang butuhan kung aduna ba'y sustansya na sustansyado ba mga kaigsuonan buti pasabot aduna ba'y igong ebidensya mga kaigsuonan nga i-proceed mga kaigsuonan kining maong reklamo batok sa presidente na wa pa man katong pinakala si kwanto Rufus Rodriguez sa Cagayan de Oro City, siya ay congressman dito from Cagayan de Oro. Na sige, kana usa unya mga gaigsuonan na may day oras nato no ugma ato ning hisgutan mahibaw-an man pod no mahibaw-an nato unsay resultado karon mga gaigsuonan og ugma ang pagtratar usab sa kining proseso sa impeachment complaint batok kang Vice President Sara Duterte na may mga nag-ingon nga murag tugnaw kuno no ang mga congressman nga uban sa impeachment complaint batok sa Vice Presidente, pero medyo sayo pa man na ipamahayag hulaton pod nato ang proseso diha sa Committee on Justice no. Nasigila Technical Director Roel Salabaw sa control may kong kauban si Marian Abila, si Joan Anunciado o Rocksteady. Sa ngalan sa among station manager is Yul Salabaw. Kini si Kagawad Lito Gibertas mga gaigsonan. Maayong hapon kanatong tanan.
Mga Surigao nun. Through every heart across the town, you lift the lonely, calm the down. With every love song that you play, I take our worries far away.